Something they've been working on a long time. I don't remember.
I know something you don't. I know where you're going. You call it glory, but it's got a lot of names. And I know the way. You haven't known a true thing in all your life. Death is always true.
Hey guys, Pete here. Are you ready to speculate on where Westworld is going, particularly in episode 4? Well, you're in the right place because it's going to be a trailer breakdown. You're going to look at the scene by scene, what they have in there, and talk about exactly where we think things will be headed before we get to episode 5, which will be the midway point of the season already. So the trailer focuses on 2 characters and they do the voiceover. We hear Bernard talk first and then the man in black. Bernard says there's something here, something they've been working on a long time. I don't remember. Then the man in black picks up and he says, I know something you don't. I know where you're going. You call it glory, but it's got a lot of names and I know the way. You haven't known a true thing in all your life. Death is always true. And both of these are pretty interesting and leave a lot of room for speculation. But let's look at the scene by scene first and then we'll talk about it some more. The trailer opens with Bernard, which the timeline was pretty straightforward in the previous episode. So I'm going to assume that this is consistent with what we saw in the very first episode. This is when he's in the bunker with the drone hosts and Charlotte Hale. He has a puzzled look on his face. We see the drone host doing drone host things, droning around, I guess you would call it. And then we get these 3 guys, which lead to what I think is the most mysterious part of this trailer. They seem to be Delos employees. Of course, since this is Westworld, we have no idea if this is something he's seeing in the present, and of course, present being when he's there with Charlotte, or if this is some kind of flashback. It looks like we see them working on the eggs that go inside the host's brain. And why I think this is the most mysterious part is because on some level, we're supposed to believe that all of this stuff was going on inside the park without Dr. Ford's knowledge. I think you can agree with me that there's really no chance that that would happen. And it really makes me wonder about how all of this plays into what happened at the end of season 1. Either way, we see 3 Delos lab technicians or something along those lines walk through. Get another shot of Bernard next to a drone host. And then we see a couple of shots of the drones doing their work. At first, it looks like we see eyeballs, which I suppose is there to let us know that they are manufacturing full-on hosts here, not just drone hosts. And then we see the brain egg. And the question here would be, is this a normal host brain egg or is this a different one that is being manufactured for a different reason? Either way, it's safe to say that this is a full-fledged production center and they are building hosts here. As mentioned, Dr. Ford is supposedly not supposed to know about this, or that's the idea that we're supposed to get because Bernard didn't know about it, but I don't know. I mean, they could go a lot of ways here with this as far as whether Bernard is remembering being here after being, wiped at a time in the past. We're going to have to wait and see about that. Then, out of the blue, things take a mysterious turn as we see a drone host who's standing next to Bernard and this tech grab the tech by the neck, lift him up against his will, obviously, and then apparently throw him into the milk. Of course, these guys could be hosts too. I don't know why they would have hosts that look like people and hosts that look like drones, but it is Westworld. So at some point, Bernard is in this place. He finds out what's going on and he sees the drone host throw somebody into the pool of the printing stuff that they use to make hosts with. That ends the Bernard section of the trailer, and we go to the Man in Black section. We see him with his hands cuffed behind his back. Who has him isn't clear here. They look like outlaws, not confederados, but I don't recognize anybody. Then we see Major Craddick, who was let go in the last episode by Teddy, looking at a painting of the crucifixion of Jesus. And there's been a lot of heavy-handed references to that throughout the season so far. Dolores seems to have somewhat of a Messiah complex. We saw the Last Supper with Major Craddick as the Jesus figure, and really just a bunch of other stuff. But here he's looking at that this may be him putting some pieces together in his own mind. Craddick and the other Confederados from the Army of New Virginia are looking for glory. They're looking for a place in their minds that's called glory. And we hear the Man in Black refer to that in his voiceover. After that, we see the train tracks, and they're using bodies to take the place of railroad ties. I'm not 100% on how the engineering of that would work. Seems a little iffy to me, but it seems to be working fine. This is where he tells them about knowing where glory is. The obvious implication here is that these two are going to be teamed up. We see a ride through the desert, which I would guess is these guys going on horseback. There are more shots of Craddick gun. Then we see him sitting at a table with whiskey and what looks like nitroglycerin sitting on top of it. And then we see the Man in Black coming out of a house using a host as a shield. I don't think we're supposed to know who this is. I don't think this is supposed to be an important host. But the Man in Black is shooting. There's people waiting outside in the rain. We see Lawrence laying on the ground, and it looks like the Man in Black is able to neutralize whatever threat it was that was outside. And now he's getting what looks to be a ceremonial kind of shot glass carried over to him from a woman. The rain's coming down, so I don't know if that's supposed to be rainwater, if that's supposed to be alcohol. This did not ring any bells for me as, oh, I know what's going on here. But like I said, it looks ceremonial in nature. It's indication that after killing all those people we see laying around on the ground as she walks over, that somehow or other the Man in Black has taken charge and his trip will continue. And it does end with him saying, "You haven't known a true thing in all your life. Death is always true." We know that that would apply to the Man in Black himself in this context because he believes that he would die if he was killed here. I'm not 100% sure that that's the case since he's like the main guy at Delos, but I feel like it's safe to say that he believes that he could be killed here, that the stakes are real. So if he's saying death is always true, what exactly is he inferring? Is he using the resurrections that Craddick saw as some kind of carrot, to get Craddick on his side? Is he talking to someone else? You guys are going to have to let me know what you think there. So we don't see any Dolores, Maeve, or Charlotte in this trailer at all, but I doubt that we'll see a whole episode without any one of those characters. I do really think that the whole Bernard thing is a little more interesting here out of these two storylines that they give us to think about. I mean, there's a lot of good and not good theories out there about Bernard, and if you're following, you know what I'm talking about. So I think a lot of us are trying to put together how he will have his twist in this season. But the Man in Black is, his story is pretty straightforward. He's a human being that's in charge of this place, and he needs to play the game that Dr. Ford laid out for him. Of course, there could be some serious twists in that, but I think Bernard is just the bigger mystery right now. And yeah, so let me know in the comments what you guys think. Are those actual Delos employees? If they're there, why did the drone host throw the one in the milk? Is that in the present day? Is that something from the past? Why do you think that? I mean, it's not a lot to go off here. I like the idea that Craddick will be going with the Man in Black. Lawrence is still there, I hope. I really like Lawrence as well. That trio seems good to me. It's good to see Armistice come back in the last episode and fill out that roster a little bit more with Maeve. I think they set up a lot with Teddy. I mean, obviously they showed Teddy in the water in the first episode, and now they're showing that he's not blindly following Dolores as she would have it, but we don't get anything in this trailer, so we can't really speak about that here. So, all right, the season's going good as far as I'm concerned. Let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It's unclear how much Westworld I'm going to be able to get done. I'm just going to do what I can. I mentioned that in the last video, so I won't go into it again here. Please like the video. Tell your friends about it. Make sure you follow me on Twitter to see when I put something new out. And thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.